Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It's Whack an Atheist Wednesday. This will be short. I'll tell you what Elizabeth Taylor told her last husband. I won't keep you very long, okay? So, it is April the 8th, 2020. We're the folks who believe the Bible is literally true and scientifically accurate. God made everything in 6 days. That's the only way it works. There are so many symbiotic relationships. Certain animals require certain plants and verse by. How on earth could this happen by chance? You guys have incredible faith. So you atheists, we're going to take science, knowledge, and gently, well, maybe not too gently, whack you in Christian love. It's going to be short. I just got a couple thoughts to cover tonight. I got about 10 other atheists I'd love, almost got them on the whack list tonight. I just didn't have time. I've been busy. We believe dinosaurs always lived with man. They're called dragons in many cultures or something named like that. And evolution's the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. And it's a religion. There's nothing scientific about it. But I thought of one great thing that's happened because of the virus. Millions of kids are no longer in school being taught the dumb evolution religion. Yep.
Did you hear Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race? He decided to quit because everybody's already locked up and out of work.
Oh. Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race because everybody's already locked up and out of work. Whoa. Zing, I like that one. And many of your kids are bored at home and they're watching my videos on YouTube channel and getting saved. So, yay. Hey, you parents, if your kids are home, say, look, while you're home, watch this. And just click one on. You can watch 10 minutes, they'll be hooked. So if you want to help us build this place and finish what we got started, if you have any junk silver coins, I remember my brother sold his Harley motorcycle years ago. And it was 1965 or 6, shortly after they stopped making the silver coins. And he wanted $1,000 for this Harley he had, and the guy paid him $1,000 face value in silver coins because it had not gone up in price yet. My dad said, "Hey Ross, what are you going to do with that silver?" He said, "Go buy something with it." He said, "I'll buy it off you." Gave him a check for $1,000 and bought the silver. Dad kept it for a couple of years and sold it for $18,000.
Wow!
When it peaked at 18-1, now it's less than that, I think, but still, Dad was pretty smart. Okay, but anyway. I used to save this stuff. I said, forget it. I'm going to invest everything in the Lord's work, and I sold it all and put it all into the ministry here. I want to win souls. I'm not going to sit on a pile of silver or gold. So if you want to help us, and you got some sitting around, you want to do that, send them. We got a guy who wants to buy them and help us to finish the stuff. We need, well, talk to Ernie today, about another $21,000 now to get out of debt. Anyway. Your silver and your gold is cankered. The rust of them shall be a witness against you. You heaped up treasures for the last days, and then you sat on it. Okay. Your moth and rust don't corrupt. Okay. We are building our science center, building on. If you want to help us, our new addition, we need about $2,000 to pour the concrete on the bottom floor. It's not quite ready yet. It wouldn't take long to get it ready, though. You can run that tractor and get it. Yeah, okay. And about $1,500 for the walls. Upstairs, brother, look at that. Your work is, I didn't take a more recent picture. But you have done these. That's quite a math problem, isn't it? Yeah. It's a good thing you never complain.
More than I can handle.
Good. Now, Randy, how long you been here, brother?
A week.
A week?
1 week.
How do you like Dinosaur Adventureland in this place?
I love it.
Amen. You recommend other people come?
Yep.
Amen. Come on down.
Friendship is awesome.
We are open. Come on down. I mean, the rest of the world's closed. We're open in Alabama. Did I say it right? Alabama. Okay. Our science center, our whole section on lies in the textbooks is going together. Julia, how are you doing on that?
I have the slides, I just don't know how to work the printer.
You don't know how to work the printer. I think you push P or something like that. I don't know. All right. The fool has said in his heart, there's no God. You folks who believe there is no God, you're a fool according to the Bible. And they made a big deal out of that sentence I said in one of the debates, I'm not prepared for that. Well, you atheists are not going to be prepared for Judgment Day when it comes either. And we're here to help you get prepared for that, okay? God looked down from heaven to see if there was any that understood and seek God. They were all gone aside. They are together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Romans 3. And what if some did not believe? God doesn't care. Let God be true and every man a liar. I showed the comic before. I'll show it again. I don't know if you saw this, Randy. I got the picture. Welcome to hell. Did you see that? Oh, okay. Atheist. He says, welcome to hell. He says, well, there's less fire than I thought. He says, hell is unique to each individual. Okay, what's mine? What's my punishment? Click. You have to watch Ken Hovind seminars on repeat 24/7. That would be hell for an atheist, wouldn't it? Wow. Anyway, if you want to help us stay open for free, join our 777 Club. Ernie said many in the 777 Club have stopped giving because of the financial crisis. If you can, this would be a good time to help. If you can't, we're not going to pester you, but please do. Donations are way down, and we'd like to keep going, keep serving the Lord. They'll go to drdino.com and make any checks to CSE. Okay, let's see. We did all that. Whack an atheist right here. Even children can learn to spot how dumb evolution is. I could tell you stories all day long of kids that have called about that. But you're sure to whack them gently in Christian love. Okay, let's see. 119. How many have ever heard of Khan Academy?
Yep.
Yeah, they produce educational material. One guy started it. Let's see. His name is Salman Khan. There's two Salman Khans on Wikipedia. One is worth 300 million, and this Khan Academy is worth 60 million. So not too bad, not too shabby. But he has all kinds of stuff on education, which is pretty good. But I Googled, what's the best evidence there is for evolution? And his site came up near the top of the list, offering the best evidence for evolution. So I thought, all right, what do you got? Salman, is that how you pronounce his name? Salmon, like a fish, okay. Spelled different. One of the best evidences they offer for evolution is anatomy. Now you're a medical doctor. How much anatomy did you have to study to get your degree? A lot. You get real tired of it real fast, don't you? It smells bad. All these Latin words about this long, you know. Latin's a dead language. It killed the Romans, now it's killing us. And so, but
She's saying cadavers.
Cadavers are really
oh,
gross.
cadavers, yeah.
Hands-on.
Hands-on anatomy, yes. Lots of formaldehyde, or they just, yeah, okay. Okay. Anyway, does anatomy really provide evidence for evolution? He says it does. This is number one evidence. Species may share similar physical features because the feature was present in a common ancestor. It's called homologous structures. Homo means the same. Homologous structures. Really? Well, let's go over to lies in the textbook, slide number 1289. Alt DV 12. There. I added slides. I can't do that. Okay. There it is. Okay. The textbooks often say in school, and I got 60 biology textbooks here, one of the evidences for evolution is homologous structures. We have two bones in our wrist, and the bird has two bones in his wing. And in their mind, that's proof of a common ancestor. Did you know Fords have 4 tires touching the ground, and so do Chevys, and so do Hondas, and so do skateboards? That's proof they all evolved from a skateboard. That's this twisted thinking of these dumb evolution believers who think, like, guys, if there are similar structures, could it possibly be that they have the same designer? Could it be that it works pretty good? You know, if you could develop a machine that would do what your wrist and hand does, you'd be a millionaire. Heals itself when it gets hurt. So they have vestigial structures, things you don't need anymore. There are no such thing, by the way. And molecules, so they give the evidences for evolution. What is this homologous structure supposed to be? This is lie number 22 in my series that I cover, Lies in the Textbooks. Right there, my video series, $50 for the whole thing, 18 hours. We have been getting a lot of calls in the last few days. What is happening in the world? And I did a whole series of videos on this. Whoa. What on earth is about to happen, for heaven's sake, based on my book, which you can also get. Julie said they're flying off the shelf. If you want to find out what's going on and what's coming according to the Bible, prophesied 2,000 years ago, I want to read that series, watch that video series.
What would you suppose a common ancestor to a bird, a bat, a whale, a human, and a dog is?
A snail.
What would it look? A snail, yeah.
Yeah. Now hold it. Bethany, you took anatomy. Do snails have 2 bones in their wrist or just one?
They don't have wrists.
They really don't have a wrist, do they?
I don't know anything about snails.
Or bones?
They're more involved in us.
An amoeba. Where's the arm on an amoeba? You know.
We come from like a mouse or something? I don't know.
They have such a wild SpongeBob imagination. Like, Just imagine all the animals are related. That's not science. Okay, homology, homologous structures. Homologous structure is an example of an organ or bone that appears in different animals, underlying anatomical commonalities, common anatomy, demonstrating descent from a common ancestor. No. Demonstrating the same guy designed them. That's what it demonstrates, for heaven's sake. In other words, it's when very different animals have bones that appear very similar in form or function and seem to be related. So they show the radius and the ulna, the humerus, the metacarpals, the phalanges, etc. of the foot, and the human, and the bat, and the porpoise, and the horse. Look at that. They even colored them the same. That's proof they're related, because they're all colored blue. Okay. Homologies are in the following photos of plants. The leaves are quite different from the normal leaves we envision. The pitcher plant traps insects. So does the Venus flytrap. How many have ever seen a Venus flytrap work? There are little hairs in there. It has to be triggered twice. So if a stick falls on it or a leaf falls on it, it won't fool the plant. How long did that take to evolve?
Is homology similarities or differences? Because the last one they're saying this is similar, and now this is different.
Well, they're similar in that they're all used to attract an insect or something, I suppose, which is probably true. Cactus leaves have become spines. They just state this stuff like it's a fact, and the average kid goes, okay, put it on the test, teacher. Could somebody please show me a leaf turning into a spine? Where is the evidence of that? This is one of those just so statements. We said it, so it's got to be true. Okay. Homologies. Evolutionary theory predicts that related organisms will share similarities that are derived from common ancestors. Similar characteristics due to relatedness are known as homologies. Homologies can be revealed by comparing the anatomy of different living things, looking at cellular similarities and differences, studying embryological development. I can't believe they're still teaching that 160 years after it was proven wrong. And studying vestigial structures. Oh, so we lose a bunch of stuff, and that's how we got it all. Within individual organisms. Kids have to face this all day, every day. It's a giant brainwashing mechanism that they go through this thing to learn it. Evidence of evolution, homology. What observable evidence exists to support the idea that life on Earth has evolved its diversity through long process of descent with modification? This is biomiami.edu. So what's the evidence for evolution? Homology. One of the most powerful forms of evidence is homology. So you're telling me, now hold it, because the penguin has two bones in it that can allow his flipper to twist and move to maneuver as he swims through the water, and so does the alligator have the radius and the ulna, and so does the bat, and so does human. That's proof of a common ancestor in your itty-bitty mind. These homologous structures provide evidence that these animals evolved from a common ancestor. Yes, ma'am?
Do they ever state what this common ancestor is?
No, not here.
Same question there.
You got to go back millions of years.
Oh, it's disappeared.
Well, or billions of years, depending on how far back you want to go. Yeah.
So no one knows.
They don't know.
So
But they know it wasn't God. They know it wasn't God. That they know. They all agree on that.
But they have faith that it exists.
They have faith that there was a common ancestor. Okay. Okay, let's see. The whale forelimb has, look at that, radius and ulna. Did you know when whales have babies, guess what they are?
Baby whales.
Whales. And their grandparents were whales, and their great-great-grandparents were whales. And you go way back.
They were squirrels.
They were squirrels, way back there, way back, okay. This is the stuff kids face in all the textbooks, life science, biology. Like this is evidence for evolution. Homology? Other evidence for evolution. Homology, similar four-limb structure. This proves they descended from a common ancestor, essential Campbell biology. I got 4 copies of his books over there, 4 different editions. Homology, for example, the forelimbs of vertebrates are all homologous structures, structures with different appearances and functions that all derive from the same body part in a common ancestor. And what exactly was that body part? I'd like you guys to give some evidence of that. If you want us to pay for your religion to be taught, I think the burden of proof's on you. This is used at Northern Michigan University. When I went up there to speak, I was supposed to do a debate. Nobody would debate me, so I spoke at the university. And boy, they put some really nasty articles out in the student voice newspaper or something about, there's a creationist coming, to arms, to arms.
Yeah, the point you just made is very viable, because was it a leg, was it an arm, was it a wing, or was it a flipper? The common ancestor.
You're not allowed to ask those kind of questions, sir. It happened. You have to just have faith it happened, okay? This is thinking critically. Let's see. Thinking critically, boys and girls. A seal's flipper and a human arm have very different functions. What evidence might help to show this both structures evolved from a forelimb of a common ancestor? This is not thinking critically. This is being brainwashed. They're teaching them what to think, not how to think. This is like asking a question that has two false answers. Are elephants blue or elephants orange? How about neither one? My dad was so good at getting us to think outside the box. My two older brothers and I and my dad would sit around. He'd say, okay, boys, Mom says the grass is too long. How many different ways can we think up to fix this problem? And the lawnmower's broke. Okay? Option 1, forget it, let it grow. Option 2, fix the lawnmower. Option 3, buy a new lawnmower. Option 4, hire the neighbor kid. Option 5, buy a goat. Option 6, sell the house and move. You know, to see how many things. It was cool just to start thinking outside the box. Some people are not capable of doing that. You know, they're told what to think, not how to think. This is not thinking critically, kids. You're being brainwashed and you don't even know it. How is this evidence of a common ancestor? It's not at all. It's evidence of a common designer. Comparative anatomy provides further evidence of evolution, the textbook says. Clinical biology sitting right there. And I know it's 1994. They locked me up for 9 years. I had to quit collecting textbooks for a while, but I had to update my slides. But they haven't changed. They're still using it, okay? Commonalities suggest these and other vertebrate animals are related. They probably evolved from a common ancestor. This is propaganda. This is not science. The bones develop from different genes in different organisms. Evolutionists cannot explain this and seldom discuss it. Why do these bones come from the gene, a certain part of the gene code in a cat and a different part of the gene code in a frog? This is designed. Irish textbook. Comparative anatomy of the pendactile limb. Look at that. The human arm, the bat wing, the dolphin, and the mole all have similar structure. Wow. And that's proof we're related? Human, the cat, the whale, and the bat have common. This is used all over. It might prove a common designer. I tried this one time, and this is a fact. The lug nuts from a Pontiac will fit on a Chevy. That proves they both evolved from a Toyota.
I'm going to bet it'll fit on a GMC too.
No way. Maybe they're more related than we thought. Wow. Now, it's true, many animals have similar forelimb structure. That's a good observation. They must have had a common ancestor. Oh, now that's a bad conclusion. This helps prove we came from a rock. Now, that's a really bad conclusion. I tell the story at the beginning of my seminar, part 4, about the scientists were going to see how far a frog could jump. So they put the frog down and said, jump, frog, jump. Frog jumped 80 inches. They brought him back and cut off one leg. Said, jump, frog, jump. He only went 70 inches. So they wrote in their notes, 3-legged frog, jumped 70 inches. Brought him back, cut off another leg. Jump, frog, jump. He only went 60 inches. So they kept a chart, 2-legged frog, 60 inches. Brought him back, cut off another leg. Said, jump, frog, jump. The 1-legged frog only went 50 inches. They brought him back, cut off his last leg. Said, jump, frog, jump. The frog didn't move. They were puzzled. They expected like 40 inches, 80, 70, 60, 50. They thought he'd go 40, but nope, didn't move. They tried the experiment again. New frog. Got same results. After several attempts, they finally realized, you know what's happening here, guys? A no-legged frog goes deaf. Oh. Brilliant conclusion, guys, okay? So the idea that anatomy provides evidence for evolution, I'm sorry, Mr. At Khan Academy, you are extremely mistaken, okay? This is evidence for a common creator. Now, you say there's evidence from molecular biology, the DNA, which is probably the most complex code ever written. Steve, give me an estimate. How many lines of code are there for Microsoft PowerPoint?
A million.
A million.
Probably more.
Probably more. You know how many lines of code there are just to make a human? 46 chromosomes. 23 of them fit in a sperm that you can't even see without a good microscope. It can swim. Real tiny. So the evidence they use for evolution, all of it has been disproven. It doesn't prove evolution at all. They say we've got...
Windows has 50 million lines of code in it.
Windows has 50 million lines of code.
Jeez.
Do you think there's any possibility that could happen by chance? There's none.
Well, and you break one little piece and the whole thing doesn't work.
It goes corrupt.
Yeah. See, our DNA code corrects itself. What they thought were pseudogenes, you don't need that anymore. No, that's a backup. How many of you have ever driven a vehicle that has a spare tire? You ever drive one of those? Oh. Is that proof of evolution? That's somebody thinking ahead. Like, wow, we may need this out on the road someplace. So I've got enough stuff to go 2 more hours, but I'm going to quit. I just am concerned that so many kids are having to learn this stuff every day. What do? Well, here at Dinosaur Adventureland, we teach the truth. God made the world in 6 days, just like he said he did, and he wrote a book about it.
Amen.
And told us. And he wrote it on a rock with his finger. In 6 days, the Lord made heaven and earth. Exodus chapter 20, Exodus 31.
If they're trying to prove historical science, then don't you think they would appeal to history? Like, how much years of human history do we have documented?
We have
1,000?
Yeah, 4,000 years of human history, and so far cows have always produced cows.
Right, but they do not appeal to human history, they appeal to imagination.
They want to go beyond human history because you got to go back millions, billions of years. Now, you raise cows, and you were telling us today at supper about the average height of a cow in the 1960s. And now they've bred the cows to get them bigger, more beef, right?
More beef per production.
Okay, would the bigger cows survive in nature in the wild?
Probably. Yeah, they but that's because
the chickens, they can't.
well, that's because the bull and the heifer are going to protect the young. They're going to run you off.
Right.
You make daddy mad and he chases you.
But see, nature will select a certain body type and a certain size, and that's about the max that survives. The rest don't survive for whatever reason.
Yeah, if you go too far off, they have all sorts of health problems and things like that as well. Just like dogs. You know, the
Well,
pug has nasal.
How long would the pug last out there in nature? You know, how long would the chihuahua last? Put beans out there.
40, 50 seconds.
50 seconds. When I was in teaching school up in Bourbonnais, Illinois, near Kankakee, Illinois, that year the guy, a farmer, had the world's record holder for milk production. His cow produced 100 pounds of milk a day. Utterly impressive. And so I took my students to go see it. The poor thing could barely walk. You know, they got it halter around, tied up to the stall, eat and produce milk all day long. Put them out in the woods, wouldn't last one day.
Some of the chickens that are produced in mass quantities can't even walk.
Right.
They can't reproduce.
They're just
Yeah. So it's true, man can manipulate the gene code and get cows with more milk or cows with more beef or cows that produce more babies or whatever. But they're still a cow. Man can manipulate the gene code and get a Chihuahua or a Great Dane and everything in between, but it's still a dog. So you kids, while you're out of school, call me if I can help you in any way. 855-BIG-DINO, extension 3. I take calls all day long and half the night. I want to help. And you folks who believe in evolution, woo. And the folks at Khan Academy, I'll debate you, Salman, any day of the week, okay? You're lying to the kids to tell them there's evidence for evolution. There is none, zero, none. And homologous structures don't prove it, neither does molecular biology or biogeography, where they live. And fossils, how on earth could any fossil be evidence for evolution? When you find a fossil, all you know is it died. You don't know it had any kids.
Hey, tell them to trust in the Lord and come on over here. You only need less than a quarter of the faith to believe in God than what they believe.
Yeah, see, a lot easier. God did it. I give people the tour and I show them that tree. I say, lightning hit this tree 3 months ago when a storm came through, and this painting grew right out of the tree. So far, nobody believes me. I'm hurt. Mackenzie, you believe me, don't you? Oh, she still got the... Oh, she doesn't believe me either. 5 years old, she knows better.
No one's believed me either.
When you see a painting, there's a painter. When you see a coffee cup, there's a coffee cup maker. It's not complicated. This is natural products. Let's see, a piece of, I don't know what kind of wood that is, and a piece of bamboo. Is there any chance this could form itself by chance? Just two pieces of wood come together. None. Why on earth can't you see it? Willingly ignorant, Peter called you, 2 Peter chapter 3. And you fit the bill fine if you believe you came from a rock. Okay, any questions out of this group? Thank you so much. We're working frantically on days on the Science Center trying to get all the drywall up, insulation, lighting in. Come join us. See you tomorrow. Bye.